Today we're going over the second summer banner for 2025 in Fire Emblem Heroes. The lineup for this time features the Ashen Wolves who have made their way out of the basement. We got summer ults for Yuri and a dual pairing with Hapi and Constance. Both us will meet back up with the squad as the Tempest Trials reward. The other members for today are some of the healing hands. Brave Eikþyrnir is about to be insane because they're already giving him another ult here. Meanwhile, I think the devs straight up hate Ratatoskr because last we got Heiðrún. To be fair, the couple of reasons she's here, her big, embracing defense and res stats, which we'll talk about later along with everyone else's stats and skills. If you want Brave Eik, then Summer Eikþyrnir will be some prime bait. Luckily, he is the 4-star focus unit. If you just want one copy, he should be easier to get at 4 or 5-star rarity. No longer a heroic rail unit, Summer Eikþyrnir got a little more goodies than his Santa self. For this ult, Eik is a red beast cavalier with 45 HP, 49 attack, 17 speed, 49 defense, and 30 res. Attack and defense super boons, min-max for low speed, no surprises here. For ult skills, Eik's got Bonfire, and that's it. For his unique weapon, Eikþyrnir has the Ocean Fit Antler. At start of turn, if near an ally, Eik grants plus 6 attack and defense, low, and a free fall up status. If Eik is within 2 spaces of an ally, and he or they have field buffs, then after the start of turn skills trigger, Eik would grant plus 3 to any field buffs active. For combat, Eik's got Eikþyrnir specials. If initiating or near an ally, Eik gets bonus attack, defense, and res equal to 5, plus the number of allies within 3 rows or columns, times 3. If you have 3 allies in range, you get plus 14 to those stats. In addition, Eik will get a true damage equal to X, he reduces damage equal to 50% of X. Last, he gets instant cooldown before his first attack equal to X divided by 12, rounded down. This X value is the highest total field buffs among Eikþyrnir or his allies within 3 spaces. Summer Eikþyrnir has the same field buffing gimmick as per usual. Instead of bonus doubler, he now gives low and a follow-up status. For his X value, plus 6 attack and defense will become plus 9, which means 18 total field buffs. Divide 18 by 12 to get 1.5, and round it down, that means Eikþyrnir gets minus 1 instant cooldown. Now if you can get another plus 9 field buff to a third stat, then Eik would have 27 total field buffs. Divide by 12 and round down to get minus 2 instant cooldown. Last, with plus 9 to all 4 stats, Eikþyrnir will get exactly minus 3 instant cooldown. Of course, this also means 36 true damage and 18 flat damage reduction. As always, Eikþyrnir is a heavy field buffing focus unit. Low will slow him down, but he can borrow buffs from his allies. You would have to spread his team out or inflict panic. Since stuff to summon for him, the devs gave Eikþyrnir his Mythic B skill this time. Divine Brawn is honestly kinda just a better version of the original. It gets a variety of effects including Kanto 2, guaranteed transformations including a turn 1 transformation and 8/8 defense. After start of turn effects, Eik will fully cleanse himself of penalties. If he's within 5 flat attack of the enemy, he inflicts minus 7 attack and defense in combat. You can double those debuffs if Eik is also within 5 flat defense of the enemy. Last, you got a guaranteed minus 5 attack and defense, 50% DR piercing, and 7 HP healing after combat. This is pretty much Divine Strength with an extra 50% DR piercing, slightly higher debuffing, and the 8/8 defense transformation part. Basically, Eik is gonna self-cleanse each phase, and if you don't beat his attack or defense stats, then he's just gonna mega debuff you. But wait, there's more. Summer Eikþyrnir comes with a new skill, Attack and Defense Wild, only the second Wild variation. This is a beast on his skill. If you're transformed or you're next to one human ally, you get plus 7 attack and defense, breath type cooldown, and you heal 7 HP after combat. Wild is pretty neat as a cooldown option for beasts, they just never really made it accessible. It's built out of attack and defense solo, so this is an easier to inherit skill. If you want cooldown and healing, it's not too bad. Summer Eikþyrnir basically does the same things as before. He gives attack and defense buffs to the team, but you really want speed and res buffs too. More buffs means more true damage and flat DR, and try to get at least 3 plus 6 field buffs to get minus 2 instant cooldown. With Sling, Eikþyrnir can proc Bonfire immediately. Thanks to Wild's cooldown, when he gets hit back, he will follow up and also proc Bonfire a second time, assuming there's no guard effects. Now the main skill Eikþyrnir wants is Sturdy Beast, same damage as Bonfire but with 40% unpierced with DR. Eik will have the DR to combo with his flat damage reduction, and you can also add Excel for more flat damage reduction. The loss of Wild will mean you won't get a second Sturdy Beast proc though. Now besides that special, you're free to customize Eikþyrnir as you like. His kit covers a lot of the effects he already wants. For C-Skills, Insight Hone would be nice, but there's no speed and res Insight Hone just yet. Unfortunately, we might not get one for a while because there isn't even a regular Insight speed and res, and there's no Alarm speed and res either. Technically speaking, Rouse speed and res 4 isn't bad because it grants no panic, but ideally, you kinda want someone to give no panic to the entire team. If you can work around the solo condition, you can use the Rouse speed and res Sacred Seal. Another budget option is to run odd and even res wave in the C slot and Sacred Seal slots. Now for other skills, you could use Fierce Beast. If you want even more cooldown insurance, you could use Supreme Screech or Beast Threaten. Screech's feud effect is pretty good, and these skills could allow Eik to proc 4 cooldown specials easier, or you could run something like Gale Force. As a higher defense unit, Breath of Life is nice, and Eikþyrnir has Kanto for Shadow Shift or Smite. In the A slot, you could grab distant counter skills for fun, but careful fortifications. Eikþyrnir does a flat attack and defense checks for his B skill. For that reason, Solid Ground or Squad 8 Seals can also be used for flat stats. All in all, an extremely nice 4-star focus unit. You have to wonder if this ult was planned before Eikþyrnir won CYO. I also wonder if the Brave ult is going to do something different. Summer Eikþyrnir is kind of just like his Mythic version, and Winter's just a free-to-play version of those. Hope you save some orbs, because we'll find out the answers to these questions next month. Our second unit is Summer Heiðrún, who has put down the book to return back to her OG Beast form. She's a colorless infantry beast, and for stats has 41 HP, 46 attack, 18 speed, 46 defense, and 48 res. Res super boon, and just insanely tanky for a non-armor unit. For old skills, Heiðrún's got these skills people were running on her mythic form, aka Lagoon's Friend. She also gets Ice Wall, which is ironic for a summer banner, and already back for the 3rd time. Ice Wall plus Lagoon's Friend is great, but Heiðrún cannot ready it in time for the first hit. You either need extra cooldown, or you're banking on the enemy to be using a special. Heiðrún's weapon is the Tropical Nectar. For allies within 3 rows or columns, they get plus 5 attack, defense, and res. Heiðrún will neutralize their attack, defense, and res debuffs during combat, and allies will get a free follow-up attack. For herself, Heiðrún's got Sling and Distant Encounter. If transformed or the foe initiates, she gets bonus stats equal to 5 plus the number of allies within 3 spaces, times 3. If you have 3 nearby allies, you get plus 14 to those stats. For other perks, Heiðrún also neutralizes her debuffs and gets a follow-up. She will get true damage and flat damage reduction equal to 20% of her res stat. Fairly simple weapon, Heiðrún adds some stat support minus speed, and a free follow-up crux effect for the team. She has the basic tanking perks of flat DR and distant counter. If transformed, Heiðrún can also get tempo to go with her sling. For her unique C skill, she once again gets Divine Nectar, this time called Sweet Nectar. The main effects are still present, mainly that Heiðrún gives Divine Nectar to allies, and allies with that status can get an extra action after using a rally or movement assist. New to this skill is that Heiðrún gets the Bulwark Super Obstruct effect to mess with movement. If near an ally, Heiðrún will get plus 5 attack, defense, and res, 7 true damage, and 7 flat damage reduction. As a refresher, Divine Nectar neutralizes deep wounds entirely, it heals 20 HP as combat begins, and it gives 10 flat DR for the first fight in a phase. Extremely strong tanking status, and you can enable offensive moves with the extra action. Mythic Heiðrún had Bulwark, but that's just built into the skill now. The true damage and flat DR continue to stack up as well. For her new inheritable skill, Heiðrún brings Defense and Res Fortune. This beast-only skill adds new transformation conditions, making it easier to be next to human allies. It also allows for transforming on defense teams instantly. For other effects, you can get plus 8 defense and res, low attack and defense, and heal 7 HP after combat. It's a very solid skill, not bad for tanking. Builds out of Defense and Res Form 3, which is on Limstella, should be easier to inherit unless you merge them up. Like her brother, Summer Heiðrún's mostly just doing what her Mythic ult does, be a very tanky unit and give the incredibly strong Divine Nectar status. She can keep the team alive, and then they can go on the offensive with her extra action. This ult can also support from the backline with her attack, defense, and res, and follow-up crux effect. If you did want some extra supporting power, you could run debuffing skills like Havoc, Discord, or Sabotage, since Heiðrún's base res is so high out of the gate. A Ploy Sacred Seal could work, and for other ideas, you could do a Rally plus Ruse to add to the long-range buffing, and you could use Feint Seals for a similar effect. Along with regular Drive and Spurs, Heiðrún can use the new Attack and Defense Link Sacred Seal for buffing as well. Now in terms of combat, Heiðrún's got the Slang Ice Wall plus the Goose Friend setup. If transformed, her tempo effect will charge Ice Wall guaranteed when she takes a hit, so her counterattack would be with the full DR Piercing special. Heiðrún's got 3 true damage effects, including 40% res killing true damage. For tanking power, Heiðrún unfortunately cannot charge Ice Wall before the first attack. You could run Time's Pulse as a Sacred Seal, but this won't guarantee it's ready for a second fight in the same phase. To be fair, that single fight may be all you need for Heiðrún to survive, and she will still get the 40% DR effect if foes are using a special. That's not an uncommon sight for our defensive units these days. Whatever the scenario, when Ice Wall's 40% DR triggers, Heiðrún will back it up with 4 flat DR sources, 40% res scaling from her weapon and Lagoon's Friend, 7 flat DR from her C skill, and then 10 flat DR from Divine Nectar. That's pretty disgusting. Now if you want more % DR, you could run Deflect Seals for extra hits taken after. Generally speaking, you don't need to change anything here. You could swap to Stronghold for flat stats or use Wild/Bread type seals for cooldown. Heiðrún doesn't have to use Lagoon's Friend, but I would just keep it. If you really want percent DR and not worry about ice walls charging, you could use Papers or Aegis. For a non-Lagoose friend usage, you could run Sturdy Beast. Maybe you want to be a little silly and get Kanto from like Bestial Assault or something. All in all though, Heiðrún's back to her Mythic Beast form. If you want to abuse Divine Nectar in a different 8th raid season, then here you go. Our third banner unit is Summer Yuri. The house leader of the Ashen Wolves is ready to drag his team out of Abyss with some foul play maneuvers. For this ult, Yuri's a Green Dagger Cavalier. He's got 41 HP, 44 attack, 48 speed, 25 defense, and 27 res. Yuri has a speed super boon and is going for the typical offensive range cav stat spread. For ult skills, Yuri's got his unique foul play assist skill. This is a 3 range swap and allows Yuri to really move his team around. You may need to plan carefully though. Now for passives, Yuri's got full disarm for disarm trap, plus a lot of speed and defense debuffing with no guard. For his weapon, Yuri has the Tangy Sundae. At start of turn and after acting, inflict -7 speed and defense, sabotage, and panic on the closest foes and anyone within 2 spaces of that. For combat, Yuri has accelerated specials. If initiating or fighting a healthy foe, Yuri gets bonus stats equal to 5 plus the number of foes within 3 walls or columns times 3. With 3 enemies, you get plus 14 to all stats. In addition, Yuri deals true damage equal to X times 5 and gets flat damage reduction equal to X times 3. X is going to be the number of positive statuses on Yuri plus the number of negative statuses on the foe. With a max of 5 advantageous statuses, Yuri can get 25 true damage and 15 flat damage reduction. For other perks, Yuri heals 7 HP after combat. When he's initiating and the enemy has an offensive special, Yuri will inflict +1 cooldown on the enemy before they attack. Tangy Sundae has the devastating debuffing combo of Sabotage and Panic. -7 speed and defense becomes -14 total. If the foe has Panic field buffs, Sabotage will also double those. These 2 statuses will give Yuri true damage and flat DR. Try to get 3 more. He isn't the tankiest unit ever, but Yuri will get Pulse Smog Scowl effect when initiating. Hopefully that stops a big special counterattack. He may not be a mythic unit, but Yuri does get his legendary ult C skill. The true Dromi states, foes within 3 rows or columns will be inflicted with -5 speed and defense, and their percent DR skills will get cut in half. Yuri will get Kanto 2, and after Kanto triggers, Yuri will be able to use a unique Shadow Foul play. Like the assist skill, this is a 3-space swap. For other effects, at start of turn, Yuri buffs himself with +1 movement and dodge. If the enemy counters his +1 movement with stall, Yuri will disable his own +1 movement. This prevents stall from locking him to 1 movement, so he will always get the regular 3 movement of a Cavalier. For some extra combat effects, Yuri will get another 7 true damage and 7 flat damage reduction. True Dromi retains the Kanto and anti-stall effects. Shadow Foul Play is new, so this Yuri can use regular Foul Play, Kanto, then use Shadow Foul Play for 2 swaps. To position easier, even as a range Cavalier, Yuri gets +1 movement. 4 movement range cav is kinda crazy. To add to the support power, Yuri inflicts long range in combat speed and defense debuffing and partial DR piercing. For a new inheritable A skill, Yuri's got attack and speed Waylay. If initiating or next to 1 or fewer allies, the unit gets +8 attack and speed. If the enemy is full HP, you get another +2 attack and speed and deal 7 true damage per hit. If the unit is faster than the enemy, you also get full enough follow-up effects. Waylay is an interesting new skill line and builds out of attack and speed solo. It has 2 extra conditions. Full HP foes gives more stats and true damage. Fast users of the skill get no follow-up. Now the catch of Waylay is that it is a dagger only A skill. It's going to be extra premium, but if you pair Waylay with Active Lookout, you can get no follow-up plus desperation on any dagger unit. Unfortunately, unless you drop True Dromi, Yuri will not be able to do this. Generally speaking, I would say Summer Yuri is not committing to a combat role as hard as some other assassins. Instead, he's really relying on his trickster tactics to debuff the enemy, speed and defense, and get by their regular percent DR. You then have the insane 4 movement plus foul play plus shadow foul play. You add on full disarm, and Yuri does have a lot of utility. For combat, Yuri will get 4 advantageous statuses to power up his weapon's true damage and flat DR. This also empowers full disarm, speed and defense debuffing. Basically, Yuri's just trying to tank the enemy speed and defense, and he's just going to hit really hard and probably double. You could run Desperation 4 or a sweep skill, but you will give us some stats. With his base kit, Yuri's really just planning to tank a counterattack. His defensive game plan is 40% dodge DR, 22 flat DR from his weapon and C skill, and then Scowl. Hopefully Scowl stops any DR piercing specials, but Yuri is open to partial DR piercing on hit effects. For his own special, if you want to trigger lethality, you will need Heavy Blade and need to tank a hit or get another -1 cooldown. Keep in mind though that the more defense debuffs you inflict, the less defense lethality scales off of. That's where Glimmer and Asher can come in, but it will still depend on just how much base damage Yuri is inflicting. For more support skills besides the new Link Sacred Seal, Yuri could synergize with Speed and Defense Detect. He can foul play an ally forward and detect inflict exposure. It will tack on another -5 speed and defense in combat, so with True Dromi and Tropical Sunday, you just add on to the debuffing pile. Overall, Summer Yuri is not going to be a super insane assassin. He's definitely leaning into his trickster vibes and utility. He will still snipe squishier targets just fine though, and he can definitely do that with his crazy 4 movement. Our last unit for today is duo Hapi and Constance. The ladies of the Ashen Wolves team up with Constance sharing her premier Dark Flower class and Hapi bringing her monster effectiveness plus a very cool new gimmick. Duo Hapi will be a blue flying mage with 45 HP, 48 attack, 46 speed, 17 defense, and 28 res. She has an attack super boon because that's kinda all Hapi cares about. She's very much a glass cannon. For all skills, Hapi's got Blazing Light. She will empower the AoE special with Verge of Death's flat attack and speed. Neutralizing Panic and attack and speed debuffs will also keep the AoE damage as high as possible. For one more skill, Hapi has Speed and Res Crux, debuffs and follow-up support for allies and herself. Hapi's weapon is Summer Chilling. This 14-byte tome is very cool. Allies within 2 spaces, or dragons and beast allies within 6 spaces, can move to any tile within 2 spaces of Hapi. For those dragons and beasts, after they trigger Kanto, if they're within 6 spaces of Hapi, they can Kanto warp within 2 spaces of her, even if it exceeds their Kanto limits. I'm gonna stop here because this is a very cool gimmick. Duo Hapi incorporates her ability to summon monsters with a sign. Unlike Yuri's foul play and Kanto, which you can actually do in 3 houses, Hapi cannot summon a crest beast because, that would be kind of insane. In Fade though, Hapi will gain this ability by giving 6 range warping to dragons and beast allies. To make this effect even cooler, Hapi has Legend of Sakura's rescue mechanic. After they trigger Kanto, they can warp around Hapi once again. Now what if my dragon or beast doesn't have Kanto? Well, let's continue. At start of turn, if within 2 spaces of an ally, Hapi gets cooldown reduction equal to the number of allies nearby. With 2 allies, she gets a max -2 cooldown every turn. To share the love, Hapi will give out +6 attack and speed, treachery, and low to herself and her allies. Last, Hapi grants Kanto 1 to dragons and beasts. For combat, Hapi has Slaying and Dragon Beast effectiveness. If initiating, she gets bonus attack and speed equal to 6 plus 20% of her flat speed stats. She does true damage equal to speed during combat, and this will also apply to AoE specials. Last up, Hapi gets any HP Desperation to follow up before the foe can counter. Just to circle back around, I want to make it clear that Hapi has built-in guidance for warping for any ally type. The massive 6-range warping and rescue is for dragons and beasts only though. Additionally, Hapi only gives Kanto 1 to dragons and beasts, so they can use rescue. In terms of personal comment, Hapi is a scary AoE special spammer. She gets free -2 cooldown every turn and empowers her AoE damage with true damage based on her speed, and also true damage from treachery. +6 attack and speed means 12 treachery true damage. This does work on AoE specials. If the AoE and first basic attack don't finish the job, Hapi has Desperation for a double tap, or I guess triple tap. If the enemy is a beast or dragon, Hapi also has her effective damage. You may have noticed, Summer Chilling only gives 3 cooldown on turn 1. Well, if you use Hapi and Constance's dual skill, this grants -1 cooldown to charge those AoEs immediately. It also gives +1 movement and Incited for extra mobility and stats. If you're in an extended fight, Hapi can recharge this dual skill every 3rd turn. Very simple, but really nice cooldown and mobility perks. Hapi's last skill is Speed and Res Far Resound, which is a new stat variant. Basically, Far Resound is literally Resonance 4 plus Far Trace 4. This means you can get DR Piercing, True Damage, and Kanto. Resonance's effects scale based on your mage's HP. This is why Hapi has 45 base HP. This will make her lose 5 HP in combat, but in exchange you're going to get 50% DR Piercing and 10 True Damage per hit. Duo Hapi is a neat unit if you're a fan of dragons and beasts. Even if those units initiate without warping, they can still rescue out via Hapi's 6-space range. It's a crazy good effect for hit and run tactics. For example, if you slap Emlyn Silica's Ring on Fallen Edelgard, she can warp in and now escape instead of just getting stuck out there. Now to play around Hapi's mobility, she's a flyer, so she's got access to flyer formation or aerobatics. Hapi doesn't warp herself, so those effects can let her warp first to extend the range of her teammate warping. This applies to things like Wings of Mercy for surprise attacks, and you can get self-warping via Oath 4. Even though she is not tanking anything, Hapi could run Defense Rise Oath for the self-buffing and buffs, that will empower her treachery true damage. You could also run other team buffing skills, but you're going to be stuck with lesser options like wave buffs or tactic buffs. Now in terms of Crux support, you can double up with the new Speed and Res Rain Sacred Seal for close range debuffing. You can also move Crux to the Echo slot, but that may be a slight waste of fodder. For her AoE special playstyle, Hapi only gets -3 cooldown, so you gotta wait another turn, or you gotta use the dual skill. If you can get -1 cooldown from say Emblem Mar's Ring though, then problem solved. Now for other specials, Hapi's -3 cooldown each turn is enough to get Magic Light's full DR piercing. You could be cheeky with something like Speed Preempt to Vantage Foes with a special. If you use the new Silence Ward, Hapi could get 4 cooldown for Asher or Dragon Fang. Silence Ward could also just help cancel out 1 layer of Scowl. As a note, the regular Far Trace 4 B skill could be better than Far Resound. Its 7 true damage affects AoEs while Resound's does not. That being said, the main issue for AoE users is actually finishing the job in combat. With stuff like Divine Nectar, Breath of Life 4, and now Imbue, things kinda just get really tough. If you can avoid Savior, then AoE specials can weaken tanks for other teammates. You can of course use any AoE variant you want. Blazing Light is a diagonal pattern. You may prefer the reliable Blazing Wind for the simple adjacent spaces AoE. Regarding Hardy Bearing, it is good to avoid Vantage, but that is going to disable Hapi's Desperation effect, keep that in mind. All in all, Duo Hapi is going to deal some hefty damage, but she's relying on not getting hit back at all. If you got a Beast or Dragon Savior of your own, Hapi can summon them around the map, which is pretty cool. That'll be it for the second summer banner of 2025. Another reminder that Choose Your Legends is happening next month. Gonna have to make some decisions if you want Summer or Brave Eikþyrnir, especially if you're going for merges. Now for those trying to save orbs, we have Summer Baltus as our last Ashen Wolf available on the Tempest Trials. This event also begins the start of the Book 6 side plot, and we got a new Feo Sita phase as well. We'll talk about Baltus more next time. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.